Ever feel like your nonprofit's success is actually creating a compliance headache you just didn't see coming? It's a super common challenge. In this explainer, we're going to tackle how any growing nonprofit can really get a handle on the complexities of multi-state fundraising compliance.
And just so you know, this is part of the Multi-State Fundraising Compliance series from our friends at Ironwood Registrations. It's all designed to make charitable registration clear and practical for nonprofit leaders just like you.
Okay, let's dive right into what we call the compliance growth problem. This is that moment when your organization's mission success starts to create some very real and often kind of unexpected complexity.
I mean, when you're just starting out, compliance feels pretty manageable, right? You submit a registration form here, you file a renewal there. It's just a series of individual, pretty straightforward tasks.
But then, as your fundraising footprint expands across different state lines, those simple, separate little tasks, they start to connect and overlap. They transform into this intricate web of obligations that can just, well, completely overwhelm any kind of informal system you had.
And this web we're talking about, it isn't just one or two things. All of a sudden, you're juggling multiple state registrations, and each one has its own unique renewal deadline. You're hitting new financial reporting thresholds, you're handling official letters from regulators, and you're trying to keep track of a mountain of documents. Every single new state just adds another layer of complexity.
So, with this growing complexity, the issue really elevates itself way beyond just day-to-day operations. It becomes a strategic imperative that absolutely requires the board's high-level oversight.
Which, brings us to a really fundamental question. Why should the board, which usually focuses on the big picture stuff, get involved in the details of monitoring compliance?
Well, the answer is right there in the board's core duties: proper governance, responsible financial stewardship, and effective risk management. These are the absolute pillars of a board's responsibilities. And guess what? Multi-state fundraising compliance directly impacts every single one of them.
The stakes here are incredibly high. Effective oversight, it actively protects your organization's reputation and the public's trust in your mission. The alternative isn't just some administrative headaches, it's the risk of some serious reputational damage, maybe some negative press, and a real loss of donor confidence.
Understanding the why is absolutely critical. But now let's get practical. How do you actually build a solid internal system to manage all of this? Let's walk through the operational blueprint together.
A truly effective system really comes down to three key pillars. You have to clearly define ownership, you need to centralize all of your documentation, and you have to systematically track every single deadline. Let's break each of these down.
First up, defining ownership. I can't stress this enough. Ambiguity is the enemy of compliance. Whether it's the finance manager or an operations lead, you have to assign a single point of responsibility. It just eliminates confusion and ensures someone is consistently monitoring deadlines and all that regulatory mail.
Okay, next, let's talk about documentation. Think about all of it: registration confirmations, annual filings, letters from state agencies. If all that stuff is scattered across different email inboxes and hard drives, you've got a problem just waiting to happen. Centralizing everything in one accessible system prevents crucial information from getting lost when staff changes, and it lets you respond immediately when a regulator asks for a document.
And the third pillar is all about tracking deadlines. Now, this is so much more than a simple calendar entry. It's about building a reliable system that accounts for the unique requirements of each state, includes advanced reminders for your team, and ultimately prevents those super stressful last-minute scrambles to get filings in on time.
And here's a really critical point. Your compliance process can't exist in a silo. It has to be tightly aligned with your financial reporting schedules. Since your Form 990 and your annual audits are key documents for most state filings, coordinating those internal timelines is absolutely essential to avoiding delays and penalties.
So building this system is step one, but compliance is never a set-it-and-forget-it task. Now we need to talk about maintaining that system over time, making sure it evolves right alongside your organization. You see, certain activities are major triggers for new compliance requirements. Expanding your online fundraising, launching a big national campaign, or even just seeing a significant jump in annual revenue. All of these can mean you now have an obligation to register in totally new states. That's why periodic internal reviews are key to catching these changes before they become problems.
And what about when a state regulator sends a notice? How do you handle it? A strong system has a clear three-step process. 1. Every single piece of communication gets logged. 2. Someone is immediately assigned to own the response. And 3. The issue is tracked all the way through to its final resolution. This prevents those critical notices from falling through the cracks.
Ultimately, what we're aiming for here is a fundamental shift in your organization's approach, moving away from a reactive, kind of chaotic posture to one that is strategic, controlled, and proactive.
I mean, on one side, you've got the reactive world of rushed filings, lost documents, and constantly putting out fires. On the other side, you have the proactive world of strategic management and accessible records where you're always managing ahead of your deadlines. The difference in stress levels, not to mention organizational risk, is just enormous.
And this really gets to the heart of why this matters so much. When your compliance infrastructure is thoughtfully designed and managed, it frees up your organization's most valuable resources, your time and your energy, to focus on what you actually exist to do, advancing your mission.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about for your own organization. Take a look at your systems and your processes. Is your compliance infrastructure built not just for where your mission is today, but for where it's going tomorrow?